Throughout the 1990s, Winona Ryder stood out as one of the most magnetic and gifted stars of her generation in Hollywood. With legendary roles in Beetlejuice and Heathers, she became the ultimate face of artistic rebellion and 90s cool. Her rise seemed unstoppable, especially after she scored 2 Oscar nominations before even hitting 30. Then, a 2001 shoplifting scandal at a luxury department store changed everything, effectively sidelining her for over a decade. What really happened to Winona? Was she a victim of a cutthroat industry, or did she choose to walk away? And how did she pull off such a massive comeback with Stranger Things? Let's dive into her story. Born Winona Laura Horowitz on October 29th in Minnesota, she actually grew up in a Northern California hippie commune. Her parents, Michael and Cynthia, were high-level intellectuals who worked in the worlds of archiving and publishing. Her parents raised her in a bohemian world where family friends included counterculture icons like poet Allen Ginsberg and Timothy Leary. In fact, the famous psychologist and psychedelic advocate Timothy Leary was her actual godfather. Growing up in an edgy subculture while enduring brutal harassment at her Petaluma High School shaped the quirky, rebellious spirit that became her trademark, eventually pushing her toward movies as a much-needed emotional release. By 12, she was studying theater in San Francisco, and by 15, she landed her first movie role in the 1986 film Lucas. That was when she became Winona Ryder. Named after her Minnesota birthplace, she later grabbed the stage name Ryder from a Mitch Ryder record her father was playing. Everything changed in 1988 when 2 major films marked her as the most promising young talent in all of Hollywood. First was Tim Burton's Beetlejuice, starring as the moody Lydia Dietz. It earned over $73 million against a $15 million budget. Lydia Dietz hit home for a whole generation of outsiders, instantly turning her into the poster child for the gothic and alternative scenes. That same year, she starred in Heathers, a pitch-black satire about the brutal social hierarchies of American high schools. Playing Veronica Sawyer, Winona created a character that was perfectly balanced between raw vulnerability and inner strength. Though her character walked a dark moral line, Heathers turned into an instant underground hit, positioning Winona as the definitive icon for a youth movement fed up with the status quo. In 1990, she took on her most famous role as Kim in Edward Scissorhands. Her chemistry with Johnny Depp was electric, both on and off the set. Their romance, immortalized by that famous Winona Forever tattoo, turned them into the ultimate anti-Hollywood power couple. That film grossed $86 million, making her an A-list star who spent the 90s picking roles that broke the rules. She shined alongside Cher in Mermaids, and later played Mina Murray in Francis Ford Coppola's epic take on Dracula in 1992. While reviews were mixed, the movie was a massive commercial hit that proved she could dominate any cinematic genre or style. In 1993, she finally earned her first Academy Award nomination for her work in The Age of Innocence. In the 1900s setting of The Age of Innocence, she delivered a performance of May Welland that was subtle and truly extraordinary. Working with Scorsese changed everything, sharpening her craft and showing the world she could master classy period pieces just as well as modern roles. 1994 saw her as Jo March in Little Women, playing the fiery sister who dreamed of a life as a writer. Delivering a performance that felt deeply intimate, she watched the film explode at the box office, earning over $95 million and snagging her second Academy Award nod for Best Actress. The late 90s were the peak of her artistic power. She starred in The Crucible, a heavy adaptation of the Arthur Miller play about the Salem witch trials. She later worked with Daniel Day-Lewis in The Crucible, a heavy drama about mass hysteria and the dangers of fanaticism. This project showcased her ability to handle intense theatrical scripts, proving she was a serious actress in prestigious and independent films. In 1999, she took on Girl Interrupted, which was based on a memoir about a 1960s mental health facility. Not only was she the star, but she also served as executive producer after personally securing the movie rights to the book. Her portrayal of Susanna Kaysen, a young woman navigating a borderline personality disorder diagnosis, was nuanced and deeply moving. Her performance was deeply empathetic, and even though her co-star won the Oscar, Winona's mature acting was impossible to ignore. She led the romance Autumn in New York in 2000, proving she could carry a mainstream blockbuster between her artistic projects. At that point, Winona was at the absolute top of her game, with 2 Oscar nominations and the respect of the entire industry. On December 12, 2001, A shoplifting arrest at a Beverly Hills Saks Fifth Avenue completely derailed her skyrocketing career. Footage of the incident went viral instantly, sparking a massive media firestorm that dominated the news for months. She was accused of walking out with over $5,500 worth of high-end designer clothes and accessories. The public was obsessed with why a millionaire star would steal, turning her 2002 trial into a total media circus. Ultimately, Winona was found guilty of grand theft and vandalism, though she was cleared of the drug-related charges. Her sentence included 3 years of probation, 480 hours of community service, and $10,000 in fines and restitution. Her lawyers claimed she was woozy from painkillers prescribed after a filming injury, which supposedly clouded her judgment during the incident. But the damage was done. The press tore her apart, and late-night hosts turned her into a punchline for years to come. She went from the intellectual it girl to a public laughingstock overnight. Hollywood turned its back, and the script stopped coming. Producers were terrified of the drama, viewing her as too much of a liability to even pick up the phone. A career that had been soaring for a decade just hit a brick wall. The years until 2010 were a professional exile. She still took the occasional gig, but the parts were tiny, and the projects were mostly flying under the radar. In 2006, she starred in Richard Linklater's take on A Scanner Darkly, based on the Philip K. Dick novel. Though her talent remained sharp in later roles, she struggled to find her footing in the industry during that difficult period. She eventually chose to leave the Hollywood spotlight, moving to San Francisco to focus on herself and find some peace. Taking small indie parts and TV cameos, she kept her skills honed while waiting for the perfect chance to make a comeback. Looking back, she spoke candidly about the industry's brutal double standards, noting in an interview that the fallout from her mistakes would have been a non-issue had she been a man. Showbiz usually gives men a free pass or a quick path back after a personal meltdown. Despite that industry bias, the public's view of her began to soften and shift around 2010. A younger crowd that grew up on her old movies began showering her with love across social media. Millennials who grew up idolizing her now had their own voices and platforms to defend the star they always loved. As mental health conversations became more common, people started looking back at her past troubles with much more empathy. In 2010, she made a haunting mark in Black Swan as an aging, bitter ballerina being pushed out of the spotlight. It was a small part, but the parallels to her own life, feeling tossed aside by an industry obsessed with youth, were impossible to miss. Her performance was raw and powerful, reminding everyone exactly why she was once the biggest star around. Slowly, the powers that be remembered that beneath all the gossip, she was an incredible talent. Fast forward to 2015, when the Duffer Brothers were cooking up an 80s-style horror series for Netflix. They needed someone to play Joyce Byers, a mother who would do anything to find her missing kid. Producers needed someone who could play vulnerable yet fierce, a face the 80s generation still loved. Winona was the perfect choice. Not only was she a 90s legend, but her own life struggles gave the character of Joyce a depth that felt incredibly real. The Duffers reached out directly, and Winona, hooked by the story and the chance to lead again, said yes. When Stranger Things dropped on July 15th, 2016, it didn't just premiere, it exploded. The show blew up worldwide overnight by blending 80s nostalgia with a fresh, gripping narrative, all while critics raved about her powerful portrayal of the frantic mother, Joyce Byers. She played a mother who was both breaking apart and fierce as hell, literally fighting monsters to save her boy. She was raw, emotional, and gave it her all, without an ounce of ego or vanity in the performance. Critics were quick to hail it as the massive career comeback that she truly deserved after so many years. The trade papers raved about her devastatingly vulnerable performance, reminding everyone why she was once the most captivating actress around. Her work on Stranger Things earned her SAG and Golden Globe nominations, officially putting her back in the industry's good graces. Best of all, a whole new generation discovered her, while longtime fans got to see their hero win again. The show's massive success across 4 seasons has solidified her status as one of the most respected stars on television today. It's been a perfect stage for her to show off her range, evolving Joyce's character year after year. With the success of her new series, she wasn't just back in the game, she was dominating it, finally finding a sense of peace that eluded her during the chaotic 90s. Now, at 53, she's enjoying a career high that feels more solid than anything she had before. Her journey is a masterclass in resilience and the power of a second act in Hollywood. Her story perfectly highlights Hollywood's gender bias. Men often get a pass for much worse behavior and bounce back quickly. Meanwhile, Winona paid a massive professional price for a mistake that happened under the crushing weight of fame and physical exhaustion. Her journey proves that genuine talent always wins out in the end. It took over a decade, but her raw acting chops sparked a major comeback once the right script landed. Stranger Things wasn't just a fluke, it was where preparation met talent at the perfect cultural moment. Her path shows us that success is rarely a straight line. Every career has its highs and lows, but hers is a masterclass in staying resilient in the brutal entertainment world. The secret is keeping your skills sharp and being ready when that perfect shot finally appears. With the final season of her hit show approaching, she remains very picky about which new script she takes on. By 2020, she was fronting HBO's adaptation of the Philip Roth book, The Plot Against America, reminding us of her unique skill with heavy, intricate drama. Meanwhile, her legendary creative streak with Tim Burton hasn't lost any steam. By 2024, she returned to the Beetlejuice universe for the sequel, stepping back into Lydia Dietz's iconic shoes after more than 30 years. Returning to her most famous roles feels like a full circle, bringing decades of life experience to the characters we love. Winona Ryder's journey is incredible, showing how to survive a public meltdown and actually come out on top. Her journey shows that real talent lasts, and that second chances are possible, even in a town as tough as Hollywood. For fans of Beetlejuice and Edward Scissorhands, seeing her dominate in Stranger Things has been deeply rewarding. For fans who know her as Joyce Byers, she is an actress at her peak, capable of delivering raw and authentic emotion. Winona never lost her spark. She just needed the right moment to remind everyone she's one of her generation's most captivating stars. Her legacy is set in stone. The films that define the 90s will keep finding new audiences for years to come. This project ensures her legacy reaches a whole new audience, serving as a masterclass in resilience for anyone struggling, proving that true artistry always finds its way back home. The truth is, she never really left. She was just waiting for the right moment to come back stronger than ever. And that is the full story of Winona Ryder's mysterious exit and her legendary comeback. It's a masterclass in resilience and second chances. If you enjoyed this deep dive, hit like and subscribe for more Hollywood stories. See you in the next one.